hudební klub Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.
Welcome to listeners of Radio Gothic. My name's Piers Six, and I'm here with the band Death Party UK. So, Death Party UK, please introduce yourselves.
My name is Trevor the Dark Lord Bamford, and I sing, play guitar, program, record, engineer, everything to do with Death Party UK. Over to you.
Hello, I'm Scarlett Moonchild Bamford. Yes, I'm Mrs. Dark Lord, and I sing and generally do as I'm told.
I forced her into it. Took her away from a happy kitchen sink existence. Forced her to sing in a psychobilly gothic rock band. Who'd want to do that?
Who'd want to do that?
I ask you.
Who'd want to do that?
I'd rather wash up. No, not really.
We've got electronic dishwashers, so that doesn't matter anyway. Freeze you up.
It's like the drum machines of washing up.
It's a 50s thing with an apron and a feather duster. Or maybe we shouldn't go into that.
No.
Let's draw a veil over the feather duster.
It's black. Anyway, go on.
So, if you can tell us about the other groups that you've been in and what you do.
Seems familiar, this question. Well, I used to be in a band called Every New Dead Ghost back in the 80s.
Very good band.
And yeah, there we were. And we released, I think it's about 4 studio albums, a couple of singles and a couple of EPs. Toured all around Europe. Most of which I can't actually remember these days because we had too much of a good time. But it was a great time there. And then I formed Midnight Configuration, who we were together for 18 years. And I released, I think it was 8 albums. And now I'm in Arcane Winter and Death Party UK. Ice and Fire.
Ice and Fire.
Ice and Fire.
Ice and Fire. So what was the idea behind forming Death Party UK?
Strangely enough, I actually formed Death Party UK over a Skype conversation I was having with Scarlett before she moved to Nottingham. And in that time, Arcane Winter wasn't working, if you recall.
Yeah.
And obviously, as Arcane Winter, were working towards songs that later formed the backdrop for the Cold Europe EP. And I was saying to Scarlett over Skype that even though, we're working towards stuff with Arcane Winter, I've got another set of influences that really have no place within Arcane Winter that have been gnawing away at me since the times I was in Every New Dead Ghost. These influences, I suppose, really can be summed up as being like kind of dirty, dark, rock and roll, really. Very realistic, as far away from Midnight Configuration musically. It's more, the most basic, simple structures. But also, I wanted to write music that was very, very fast and up-tempo and kind of joyful, really, because, despite the title Death Party UK, the actual music is very uplifting and it's all in major keys and open chords. And so the idea behind Death Party UK was to work on a parallel musical project whilst Arcane Winter was having a bit of a rest. And it is carried on from there, and it's now got a life of its own.
Excellent. So, should we hear something from Death Party UK on the trip?
I think we should. I think what we're going to play is the most recent single, which is a song called Hells of Poppin'. Non-stop rock.
Hudební klub Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.
She looks like that in tight black pants. She looks like that and she starts to dance. Buckles, bows, heels and toes. When she starts, nobody knows. The dance floor is shaking, the dance floor is rocking. This room is hell's a poppin', hell's a poppin', non-stop rocking. Hell's a poppin', the room is shaking. Devil's groove and the walls are falling. Devil's groove and the walls are quaking. Jumping to the left, jumping to the right. Let's rock this place tonight. Hell's a poppin', non-stop rocking. Hell's a poppin', the room is shaking. Devil's groove and the walls are falling. Devil's groove and the walls are quaking. Jumping to the left, jumping to the right. Let's rock this place tonight.
UK, that was Hells Upon.
Non-stop rocking.
Non-stop rocking. So when you play live, do you have a full backing band? Do you use MIDI? Do you use backing tracks? How does it work when you play live?
At the moment, it's just Scarlett and myself on stage with a MIDI backup, which is ironic, really, because the idea behind Death Party UK is to sound naturalistic and to move away from technology. But the thing is with technology is it helps you out, and what we tend to do is we have the drums and the bass and a few of the bits and pieces on backing, and then we play live vocals, live guitar. And the ironic thing is that it sounds really raw and unproduced, but in fact it's the baby of music technology.
Right.
And so live it's just the two of us and a computer. It sounds really awful, but it works.
It does work. I mean, you last summer or so you played your debut gig. That was a fantastic night.
Is that when we did on the onairgigs.com?
No, I'm thinking the music technology.
That's when we did the unplugged version of Death Party UK.
That was good fun with Charlie on a
box.
On a T-box, yeah.
On a T-box, yeah. And me sort of with acoustic guitars. Because the music of Death Party UK it lends itself to either acoustic or electric treatments because of its simplistic structure.
Yeah.
And it's deliberate simplistic structure.
Yeah.
You know.
Excellent. So should we have another song?
Which song would you like?
Oh, let's have Black Train.
Okay, Black Train. Now, talking about simplicity, I wrote this song as an exercise in simplicity. I was laughing to myself one night. I thought, I wonder if I could get away with a song where the verse is one chord. One chord. One chord. Just one chord all the way through.
That's very different to Arcane Winter.
Very different. And three chords, one of which is the same chord as in the verse. And you know what? It works.
So, I mean, a good song to play acoustically. I mean, if you were busking or something like that.
Standing at the station, waiting for the train. Oh, yeah, it kind of lends itself to, like a busking sort of thing, or even a crooner. You can imagine some crooner singing, standing on the station, waiting for the train, wondering where my life is going, and if there's a flood.
I am scared.
Well, I'm scared now, but so let's hear Black Train.
I'm standing on the station, waiting for the train, wondering where my life is going, and if there's a plan. I hear the whistle blowing, I'm a travelling man, moving down the track at speed. I'm a hop full of me, waiting
Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.
So from Death Party UK, that was
Black Train.
Black Train. So, Trev,
Yes.
is the plan to play gigs with Death Party UK, or is it
Yes.
solely just for for studio stuff, for just an exercise? You were saying earlier
Writing
about
songs.
Writing songs.
I mean, initially, that was the idea behind Death Party UK, was to just literally have there's a particular concept behind it, which we'll get into later on. And so initially, the idea was just to kind of write songs that reflected that particular mindset. But as time went by, in between doing stuff with Arcane Winter, I would go back to writing and recording as Death Party UK. And we released a few digital EPs and started getting quite a reasonable amount of attention. People saying, you should do something with this instead of just ignoring. In fact, you were one of them.
I was one of them.
You were one of them. You're saying, stop ignoring this and get on. And I thought to myself, this year, and I don't mind telling everybody, I'm turning 55 this year, even though I don't sound it, listeners. And I thought to myself, if I really need to 55 is a landmark. So I thought, in every sense of the word, I was going to push the boat out. Now, obviously, in another interview, we talked about Arcane Winter, what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I also thought it's time to do something with Death Party. And what happened is because I was working at home in the home studio, one day I just got Scarlet. I just had this idea for female voices, because the first Death Party stuff with no female voices, but it was inspired by conversations that Scarlett and I had. I mean, particularly, I remember we wrote 3 songs in a row together, and that was Across the World, A Lucifer in Red, and The Shallow Streams of Summer. And even though Scarlett didn't sing on them, we kind of batted the lyrics about.
Yeah.
And I don't think she'd even thought about singing. But anyway, the other day we were in the studio and I just said, just try this. And I thought it really, really worked. And I think she sings really, really well. Although you're a bit shy about singing still, though, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can sing really well, I think. And you certainly match what I sing, except ironically, I can sing higher than you.
I'm really a man.
I'll just stand back from the mic and I'll do the impression.
It's
I
actually
just
very
lost a load of fan base just straight away. I lost a load of
The
fan base.
dogs are out the side.
Voice sat so high only bats can hear it.
It's actually very interesting listening to your new material, because I think your voices work together really, really well.
I think so.
It's you're very lucky, I think, in that respect. So interesting that
It just happened.
Yeah. No.
There's no contrivance about it. I mean, the songs that we have recorded together, which we've recorded quite a few, but only one has been released so far. Obviously I could say that was the song, but we haven't released it yet, and I don't know when we're going to release it. I mean, later on in the programme, I think I should play the next single to be, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, it was my plan is to play live, and obviously the sort of music that Death Party do. I mean, I call it gothabilly because I think that's as good a description as any, but I think a better description would be like hellfire rock and roll. But it depends on which kind of EP you're looking at. But generally, I think that's kind of a fair question, really.
Yeah. I think hellfire rock and roll.
In fact, I'm going to write a song called Hellfire Rock and Roll.
It would look good on a t-shirt.
I'm thinking about it. I can see it in my mind's eye. I mean, I've actually sort of written the first verse, and I've already written the music already for it. It's just sitting down and putting it together, really.
Yeah.
So I think we should play another track. I think it should be another old one. So Scarlett, I'll pass it to you. Which track? Old song. Now we've mentioned a couple. So which one we should play for the listening pleasure?
I think you should play Lady in Black.
Oh yes, A Lady in Black. Good song, good choice. So, listeners, pop pickers, A Lady in Black.
Someone to care for you when you're
Hudební klub Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.
So from Death Party UK, that was A Lady in Black.
It was indeed.
Now, we've played a couple of tracks already,
Yeah.
and what the listener will notice is that your songs are actually quite short.
Very short.
They're sort of very succinct and to the point. Now,
To work to get them to 3 minutes.
now that's kind of a counterpoint, I would say, to Arcane and Winter material, which is
4 minutes
longer,
and plus.
4 minutes plus. 10 minutes.
I mean, like Walk in the
So-
Sun is like 7 minutes, which
Yeah.
hasn't been released yet, and obviously, we've got a couple of other songs that are like 10 minutes apiece.
Yeah. So,
you know.
do you find that sort of writing shorter, sort of really punchy material is actually quite an exercise to sort of keep things restrained?
I don't even think about it. I just write what comes to me. Sometimes, I remember in my old band, Midnight Configuration, I wrote a song called Unfolding the Wings of Winter, which the original version of that was 2 minutes long. And I just could not make, and if you ever listen to that song, there's all bits of like wind noises and extension. And I deliberately did that in the studio to stretch it out to 3 minutes.
Wow.
And it's like Across the World, for example, which is a song that I wrote in conjunction with Scarlett about the eternal fight between men and women, and what men think of women and women think of men. And both sides are true and untrue at the same time. That's under 3 minutes. And I mean, I remember when I first released the EP, Red on Black EP, which it comes from, a lot of DJs said this is just too short.
Right.
But I couldn't make it any longer. It just was what it was.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, with Death Party, don't forget, we played double tempo. So it's like 200 something BPM.
Yeah.
It's really fast.
It's ridiculously
It's
fast.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
That's dance music fast.
It's faster than dance music. I mean, I think even I'm amazed by the mentalness of some of Death Party's songs. But I mean, yeah, like I say, Across the World it is less than 3 minutes long.
Right. Okay, well, I think we should
play it.
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should.
Sugar and spice and all things nice are what's inside a girl. No mention is ever made of spark of evil curl. 40 tons and cloven boots are not in short supply. It's time to make a will and sign on the dotted line. This song's about a girl. It's the same across the world. This song's about a man. It's the same across the land. Slips and snails and puppy dog tails are what's inside a man. No mention is ever made of iron heart and hand. Charming words and chocolate lies laid upon the floor. The girl in every port as we go door to door. This song's about a girl. It's the same across the world. This song's about a man. It's the same across the land. Sugar and spice and all things nice are what's inside a girl. No mention is ever made of spark of evil curl. 40 tons and cloven boots are not in short supply. It's time to make a will and sign on the dotted line. This song's about a girl. It's the same across the world. This song's about a man. It's the same across the land. This song's about a girl. It's the same across the world. This song's about a man. It's the same across the land.
Hudební klub Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.
So So, Death Party. The musical structure of your band is a little unusual. There's lots of various interesting combinations of various genres that you play. Psychobilly, rock and roll is an obvious one, but there does seem to be sort of more than that underlying. How come you mix all these things together in your band?
It's an interesting question. As I said, obviously I've got Arcane Winter on one shoulder, if you will, and that takes care of one set of influences. But with Death Party UK, when I first set it up, it was, I just didn't even think about it. I just let rip with what was in my mind at the time. And one of the musical touchstones with Death Party UK is the Gun Club, and most specifically their first album, The Fire of Love.
Yeah.
And I wanted to capture that sound. I wanted that sound with Death Party. But also, I'm influenced by stuff like Roky Erickson and the Aliens, Neil Young, Captain Beefheart, and all that kind of stuff. And it does... I think, obviously, as time's gone on, Death Party settled into a style which, again, is not far away from The Fire of Love. But it's also got a lot of the Cramps involved and things like that. There's also elements of Neil Young. Early on in the interview, we mentioned a song called The Shallow Streams of Summer, and that I use like banjo and acoustic guitar in that as well. I haven't recently used a banjo with Death Party, just because I don't feel like we're going in that direction. But I'd like to leave the doors open. There's a song which we have recorded, but it's going to be on the album when it's out, and I think actually we should play it next because it's an exclusive, and that's a cover version of Fleetwood Mac's The Ledge. Ooh. And I think this was probably on the first song. This was the first song I brought you in, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. And I heard...
It seems a long time ago now.
It seems a long time ago, but again, we're talking in the future past, because we haven't released this yet. We haven't actually released this yet, but it actually was done quite a while ago. And I like a lot of American acoustic rock as well. Yeah. And it doesn't really fit with... if in an ideal world, I'd actually have three bands going. I'd have Death Party to take care of all my swamp rock, hell-driven rock and roll kind of stuff. Yeah. Arcane Winter for the post-punk sort of positive nihilism. Yeah. And then for the electronic stuff, because I like a lot of electronic music and industrial music, it would be to relaunch Midnight Configuration. But in the ideal world, going back to your first question about how basically it's the influences that were left over. So you've got stuff as diverse as, say, Neil Young and the Cramps and Captain Beefheart. Yeah. But I constantly champion Captain Beefheart because I think that he is one of the influences on early Gothic music, particularly if you listen to Electricity by Captain Beefheart. That man was using a theremin in 1965. Yeah. It's 1965. Yeah. And in 1965, he played Electricity live in front of a bunch of stoned-out hippies. He was all in black and was screaming at the top of his voice, Electricity. Yeah. He doesn't get much more Gothic than that. No. Imagine it didn't go down too well in San Francisco. But, I love Captain Beefheart. And also, he was a major influence on a million bands, and some of those bands are as diverse as, say, Perubu, which in turn influenced the Sisters of Mercy.
Most definitely.
Obviously, the Birthday Party were massively influenced by Captain Beefheart.
We could hear that,
that's why. So, anyway, I think we should play an exclusive track yet to be released. This is Death Party UK's cover version of Fleetwood Mac's The Ledge.
Watching how it grows, you can learn things you can't walk out. Someone will tell you what's really all about. Do you ever wonder, do you ever hate? 6 feet under, someone in the way. You can learn things you can't walk out. Someone will tell you what's really all about. You're gonna make it, baby.
Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.
So from Death Party UK, that was their cover version of The Ledge.
Yes.
And that's a cover version of a song by Fleetwood Mac, who probably aren't somebody that you would necessarily connect to the Gothic scene.
I just like the song.
I like Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you say not necessarily connected to the Gothic scene, but what about Rhiannon? The actual guitar lick in Rhiannon, it's so mournful and dark, you know, and
true.
And also a lot of, I mean, they've got a lot of West Coast polish on their material, but there's a lot of dark stuff going off in Fleetwood Mac, particularly off the Rumours album.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Rhiannon is actually one of my favourite songs. To be fair,
the subject matter, obviously, of Rumours is you know, very bleak,
God,
isn't
yeah.
it? So yeah.
I mean, and The Ledge, and it's like really funny. It's a funny song, and that's part of what Death Party's about. Is a bit of levity.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I like dour music as much as the next guy. But to be fair, sometimes you've got to have a bit of a laugh, really.
Yeah.
You've got to laugh at a few skellybobs dancing around and whatever. You've got to live. I mean, you know, it's why I like the Cramps. The Cramps are, you know, they are the distilled epitome of rock and roll, but they've got a sense of humour about themselves.
Oh, definitely tongue in cheek.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
But it's a tongue
whose cheek
somebody
it is,
else's
we don't know.
cheek. Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I think actually, you know, the Gothic element can be found. I mean, look at Neil Young. I mean, you know, Don't Let It Bring You Down.
Yeah.
Those chords are minor chords.
Oh, true,
beautiful.
yeah.
Southern Man.
Yeah.
Brilliant track. You know, I mean,
Neil and the
you know,
Damage Done. I mean, it doesn't get bleaker than that, does it?
And then Cinnamon Girl, covered by Typo Negative.
Yeah, true.
So
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there's a you know, sometimes people have to kind of see outside the box.
I suppose Like a Hurricane as well. I mean, obviously the
I think
Mission
it's wonderful.
covered that.
I love Neil Young, absolutely.
So I think it's time to play something else from Death Party. So
Which track shall we play now?
Scarlett, what would you like?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh, I like Mark of the Vampire.
Ah, Mark of the Vampire. Right, we haven't released this yet. This is going to be the next single. Talking about ghosts and demons and stuff. This is actually about vampires. It's it's fun. So anyway, here we have the next single to be released, which I haven't decided when that's going to be, but it'll be soon. Mark of the Vampire.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
It's
Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.
That was Mark of the Vampire from Death Party UK. So, Death Party UK, you've described the music you play as a mix of rockabilly and psychobilly. In the Czech Republic, that's not a particularly well-known kind of genre. Would you say it is so in England?
I think it's underground here as well, really. I mean, I'm not really quite sure how. I think rockabilly was probably bigger in the 80s, but I think I think it's still got a hardcore following, and I think a lot of people still like it. I mean, look at how popular the Cramps are.
Yeah.
Even to this day.
Now, yeah.
And obviously you've got other. I mean, I'm not sure how popular the Gun Club are now. But I can say they're not really rockabilly, and that's really. I mean, I'm kind of like, we use the term rockabilly about about Death Party UK, but I don't think we really are. But it's more gothabilly. I think we're more closer to the Gun Club.
Yeah.
So whatever you describe the Gun Club as being, I mean, that's really what we're closer to. And I think that really, how popular, in Czech Republic, I've no idea how popular it is in the UK compared to Czech Republic, but I imagine it's probably about equally as unpopular.
Yeah. Well, I know that whenever, say, Demented to Go play in Nottingham, I mean, it always sells out and stuff. So
yeah.
There's definitely a very hardcore fan base for that kind of
music. I think the thing is we're not rockabilly because we haven't got the haircuts and won't have.
No.
So that's why I identify with the Gun Club, because what the Gun Club do is they distill the element of raw Delta blues rock and roll, and they sort of serve it up with a gothic edge, post-punk gothic edge. And that's really what we do, rather than pure rockabilly, because rockabilly really is very defined. And I think that, obviously, not forgetting, we use a drum machine, which is obviously very close to what the Hunters Club did. And the Hunters Club wouldn't have described themselves as a rockabilly band. They'd have probably said they've got more in common with the Birthday Party than or the Bomb Party or something.
Yeah. Well, I would always describe Hunters Club as a dirty rock and roll band.
Yeah, well, that's kind of really what we are. I mean, I still go back to the hell-driven rock and roll thing. It's closer to what we're actually about, rather than, say, your typical quiff-shaking rock and rollers, because we're not. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we said in the previous interview, whatever you listen to in your life up to the age of 23, is with you forever. And I listen to a lot of stuff like that. And I think that I'm really funny when I look back at the music of Death Party. I often wonder where it comes from, because I'm actually Englishman from the north of England. I've never been to the American West. The music that I create with Death Party is influenced by that kind of music, but lyrically it's not about that at all. It's more about us now and what our feelings are. It's nothing to do with fictitious visits to Arizona. Yeah. I mean, in fact, a song we mentioned earlier on, The Shallow Streams of Summer, it's about going to Skegness and Mablethorpe, which are holiday resorts for northern English working class people.
As English as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about crisp packets in the sea. Yeah. And so and really...
Not just crisp packets.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's some bizarre floaters out there. So, anyway, where were we? What was the question again?
Well, I was actually going to ask you which song of yours is your favourite, which would you say is your best, and why?
So, what would you say? I can't. Well, let you say, because obviously, you.
I think
I do all the talking.
Hell's a Poppin' is a really good single, and Across the World, Black Train. There's quite a few songs that I'd say are really strong, and it's hard for me to say which should be a favourite, because they all make you want to dance.
And that's
you can't
not
thing. Tap your feet to it.
And that's the other thing about Death Party, is I wanted us to be, as soon as you hear that beat, you've just got to do something, you've got to move, you can't ignore it.
It's infectious.
And that's the whole idea behind it. I wanted to keep it very simple. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what my favourite song is. I would like to play A Lucifer in Red, which is off the Red and Black UK. So here we have A Lucifer in Red.
Running down by smoke's way.
Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.
So from Death Party UK, that was a Lucifer in Red.
It was.
So, you've done quite a few videos. Can you tell us a little bit about how and where you recorded them?
Well, what do you want to say about the videos?
I believe all of the videos that we've done so far have been done in our house, in our garden, and in the studio. Yeah. That is at our house,
Right.
and being done by us.
We don't get out much. We don't get it. I mean, to be fair, that's part of what it was. I mean, obviously, Death Party is going through a change. But the house that we live in, we even got married in the back garden, as you well remember.
Yes, I was there.
Yeah, you were. You were one of the witnesses. And this house, which we nicknamed Nightbreed Towers, is very important to us. I mean, it's got a stream in the back garden. It's a wonderful location, and the music that both bands have created have been recorded in this studio, and particularly for Death Party UK being a project that I formed with Scarlett, with her as the muse, and now singing and dancing. It seemed the most, I suppose, philosophically correct thing to do to actually record the videos in the actual centre of our universe, if you will.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, also, and so I think we are aware that the next video has got to take a move forward, and we've already got something planned.
Right. I was going to ask, actually, would your next video project be something more professionally shot, or
Hopefully.
What's wrong with my video making? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, you're limited with what cameras you've got and what locations you've got and what time you've got.
Yeah.
We've kind of got a rough plan. I mean, early on in the show, we played what will be the new single, which is Mark of the Vampire. And we've got a location sort of worked out. But we've just got to work on the logistics of how we're going to record it yet.
Right.
But yeah, I think professionally shot, we're going to try
Well,
that.
I think really Death Party was never going to be anything more than a studio project, and it was a bit of fun.
At start, yeah.
And it's kind of grown due to public demand.
Yeah.
Right, we should play another track, I think. So, did I pick the last one? Yeah, it's your turn then.
The Empty Inside.
Empty Inside, which we don't actually play live at the moment, but I think we should. Empty Inside
We'll
it is.
think about it.
We'll think about it.
Soul, or
Hudební klub Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.
Death Party UK, that was Empty Inside. So Trev, you were saying earlier on about you've written and recorded everything in your own studio. Can you tell me a bit about the studio, like how long you've had it, and what other bands have you worked with here?
Well, basically, the Nightbreed studio has just gradually grown over the years. I suppose I had early versions of the studio, probably as far back as probably about the mid-90s, really. But the studio's as it is now, in its most modern form, probably about a year, but I had a studio before that was almost the same. So I suppose really 5 or 6 or 7 years, really, in one form or another. I've had most of the constituents that's part of the studio. As for bands recording here, so generally it's Nightbreed only bands, but I've mixed and mastered quite a number of other bands' stuff here and done remixes. But to be fair, I mostly use the studio for our own projects and projects we're involved in. I don't tend to work with other bands because most bands now have their own studios anyway, and so they have no need of the Nightbreed studio because they have their own. But I have done some mixing and mastering. I mean, I've done some stuff for obviously Project in the past. I mean, all of the last Nightbreed albums are all mixed and mastered here. So the Gothic Sounds 5 was done here, Gothic Sounds 4 was done here. So, you know, every track on the album was remixed and mastered here. So
and great albums.
Yeah,
great
compilations. Mostly it's been used as a project studio and as a mastering suite, really. Yeah. But now we've got like full 8-track recordable functionality here. But generally,
Hudební klub
it's just for us.
Really. Na Rádiu Blatná.
I suppose it's nice to have a studio.
Oh, I love it.
At your beck and call.
I love it.
You know, gone are the days when you used to have to book time and, you know, make sure you were all together. And
yeah, I love it. I love having it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it does. It gives you a lot of freedom, which you've obviously explored. Mm-hmm. Excellent. So, is there anybody that you'd like to work with as Death Party UK?
No.
Just
I know it's like people have this thing about who would you like to work with, and you know, I'm quite happy to work with the bands I work with and my friends. I'm not interested in, you know, picking some famous person or somebody that's influenced me. I'm not. Anybody wants to work with me, and we get on, then I'll work with them.
Yeah.
But there's various people have mentioned that we ought to do this and we ought to do that.
Yeah.
I won't mention names here, but some quite famous people have mentioned it, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. But I haven't got any burning ambition to work with anybody else other than who I'm already working with.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy.
So you see Death Party as a kind of sort of self-contained unit?
I mean, as far as obviously in the last interview we did with this Arcane Winter, where's Arcane Winter going to go from now?
Yeah.
And we answered that, and we say with Death Party, I don't know. It goes the way it goes. And it's like like sometimes songs seem to write themselves. Band's destiny sometimes tends to write itself as well.
Okay, so I think we should hear another song. Scarlett, what would you like to hear?
I think we should hear She's So Hot.
I think we should hear the She's So Hot.
She's So Hot.
Oh, what are we doing? What's going on? Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's She's So Hot by Death Party UK.
She's so hot.
klub Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.
Of Death Party UK with She's So Hot.
And indeed she is.
So, yeah, really, I'd just like to sort of finish by asking: is there anything else you'd like to say to the listeners? Any knowledge you'd like to impart? Or?
Oh, darling, over to you. I've done enough talking.
Well, gentle listeners.
Well, that's my line.
I knew I'd heard it somewhere before.
Keep supporting the underground scene, because if you don't, one day it won't be here anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I've just been involved in chatting about, various things to do with the Gothic scene, and people going, oh, it was better in the 80s, it was better in the 90s. But the thing is, at the end of the day, in those days, people actually had to put their hands in their pocket and buy CDs. And the money that they spent supported independent bands. Nowadays, people don't do that, or very rarely. And what's happening is there's more and more labels disappearing, and less bands releasing anything independently. And I think we're one of the very few left that's still doing stuff. And there's other people about, to their massive credit, still doing that. But unfortunately, unless people support the underground in one way or the other, then it will gradually just disappear, and all we'll have is endless auto-tuned monstrosities. And that's what young people are going to think is alternative music.
Yeah.
So my view is just, whether you like Death Party stuff or not, just keep supporting the underground, keep listening to the stations, keep buying the fanzines if you could find one, because most fanzines are online. Keep the fire burning.
Yeah.
Really.
I concur completely.
Concur. And I'll say thank you very much to Radio Gothic for the chance to put this interview together. Propaganda.
Excellent. So I've been Piers Six, and I've been speaking to Death Party UK.
Fantastic. And my name is Trevor the Dark Lord Bamford, and I've been speaking at you.
And I'm Scarlett Minchell Bamford, and I'll say thank you and goodbye.
Hudební klub Alana Rohana na Rádiu Blatná.